How are you doing? I'm doing well. I'm MisterRadon, of course. This is the new and improved Tuesday showcase because Thursdays are not as convenient for me as they once were. This week we're covering the PlayStation 2, which has a huge library of games, an enormous library of games. Some of which, of course, you know, games like God of War, a lot of the Square Enix RPGs that came out, like Kingdom Hearts and Final Fantasy X, the Grand Theft Auto 3 trilogy, a lot of great games to the PS2. But this week, I want to show you guys some games that maybe you missed out on. And if you did, that's okay, because PS2 games are, for the most part, pretty cheap. And if you see something you like today, odds are you can get it for... Looking at my list of what I have planned, I'd say that most of this stuff you can get for less than $20. There might be a couple that go over that, but for the most part, these games are pretty reasonably priced last I checked. So, without further ado, I'm actually playing on a fat PS2 today. I have a bunch of PS2s. Some work, some don't. The fat one was close by and convenient, and I am not getting any audio. Gotta fix that real quick. Everything's just going wrong right now, guys. I'm so sorry. Alright, so this first game I'm pretty sure most of you have heard about, but I don't know if you've ever actually seen it in action. And it is Fantavision, which was one of the PS2 launch titles in America. I think in Japan as well. It's got these really bizarre cutscenes. But I thought it was only appropriate to begin with a game that the PS2 also began with. And this intro tells you absolutely nothing about the game, really. Like, not as bizarre as the PS3 ads, Wursel says. That is true. The PS3 ads are a different kind of special. Alright, so Fantavision came out in 2000. And it is sort of a puzzle game, kind of a puzzle game, kind of like a rail shooter puzzle game, where you have to set off chains of fireworks based on what color they are. And you have to do them in at least 3. You can set off some pretty big chains once you get better at the game, however. So you can rotate the analog stick around, and you target which fireworks you want to blow up. There's 3 colors. There's red, green, and blue. And then there's the blinking rainbow wildcard ones. Now, if you let a firework go for too long, it will fizzle out, and you will lose life, and you will miss out on some opportunity for points. If you use a wild card firework late in the combo, you can actually chain multiple colors together in one detonation. So you're seeing me here get some multicolored chains going here. I'm not doing super great. But the game isn't too difficult either. There is a hard mode in this game that actually does ramp up the difficulty considerably. But the base game is not bad at all. It's got good music. It's a pretty short experience, but it's also pretty unique. I like this game because it offers something that, it's kind of a match 3, but it has timing elements to it and combo elements to it. You can see what chains of fireworks are going to come up next on the screen. You can see that at the bottom. So you can plan your moves out in advance. Another thing that you can do, sort of an advanced tactic, is you can target a firework and then let it go. And doing that keeps them burning a little bit longer, giving you the opportunity to set up some pretty intense combos. You can combo entire stages, if I'm not mistaken. There's 8 different stages and 2 difficulty modes. There's a multiplayer feature as well. It's a quirky game, and it's when I bought this game, I was actually made fun of by the EB employee. I was buying out of the bargain bin for like $2, and he kind of scoffed and was like, "Oh, Fantavision," and I was like, "Yeah, well." I timed it out. I gave myself an excuse. I was just on the fly. I said, "Well, the 4th of July is tomorrow." And it was at the time, and so it was just sort of like a silly purchase. It's not an expensive game. It's pretty common. And I think it's, like I said, I think a lot of you have probably heard of it before, because when the PS2 came out, there weren't a lot of games to choose from. Alright, we're going to activate the bonus mode here. But it was on the shelf everywhere when the PS2 came out. You know, people were looking for games like Zone of the Enders and Tekken Tag Tournament, and those were a little harder to find. But Fantavision was everywhere, liked it or not. And I think it's a pretty good game. It's not Game of the Year material, but I think it's not a game to be slept on either. And it's a little bit of a shame that Sony never tried to revisit this as like a downloadable title for the PS3 or anything like that, because I think it would have had a lot more appeal if you could download something like this updated with a couple new features for $10 or $5. I think that would be pretty reasonable. It's interesting how complex it can be, considering there's really only the 2 kinds of fireworks there are. But, like I said, playing through the game on normal is pretty much just, until you get to the later levels, you can kind of just let the game hold your hand. You know, don't do anything too crazy, and you'll still be able to pass the levels. Playing through the game on hard becomes a serious challenge, and you really need to learn how to detonate as many fireworks as possible without letting any go before you can even really attempt the game on hard. Let me get caught up on chat here. Wait, this is a game? I thought it was just something that took up space at stores. Yeah. See, that's the thing, is it's a pretty common game, and now that you can get it for not $60, I think it's a pretty good value if you like puzzle games. I remember when my Walmart launched the PS2, we had 3 units total. We had almost 200 people in line. Ouch. Okay, yeah, if you can't tell the difference in the colors, that would be a problem. So, if anyone who has any degree of color blindness might not be able to enjoy this game. Definitely. Ridge Racer 5, Tekken Tag, Fantavision. I want to say Twisted Metal Black. And I also want to say Driving Emotion Type S. The stages all follow a really similar progression. They just sort of take different routes, and they'll have different backgrounds. This is going to look similar because the stages come in packs of 2. So you start out in the city, and you end up going to like a harbor, and then you go into space. Still setting off fireworks in space. Oops, pressed the wrong button there. There really isn't a whole lot more to the game, though, so I don't intend on playing this for too much longer. But it's graphically, it's pretty solid. I mean, early PS2 games did not, for the most part, look much better than late PS1 games, and despite its underwhelming gameplay style, I think this does a much better job of showing off what the PS2 is capable of graphically than a lot of other games that came out at launch or near launch. Time Splitters was also a launch title. Okay. An Orphan. So you can see if you, my life bar is down there in the bottom left, and if you start letting fireworks just go without detonating them, it dips down pretty quickly. And you need to grab power-ups, these E power-ups, to get life back, and you don't get much. So the game is very unforgiving in that if you start making mistakes, you're not likely to recover. You just kind of have to stop the bleeding and hope that you don't hit a hard stretch later on in the level. Down on the right, you can see the auto-scrolling nature of the level. My map is displayed down there and shows... We're moving towards the white dot in the bottom left, and when we get there, the stage ends. So really, all you're trying to do is hold out until you reach that goal. Also, any explosion that a firework touches of the same color causes the chain to continue and the firework to detonate. So timing is a big issue too. I mentioned earlier picking and releasing fireworks, and doing that allows more fireworks to come on the screen so that you can detonate a few dozen at a time. The music, there's some really good songs and there's some that are not as good. It's kind of hard for me to say whether or not I'm a fan, because I think there's some tracks that are really good, especially these drum and bass tracks that played during the bonus star mine areas. But some of the other songs that played during the actual stages themselves aren't always super engaging or super interesting. Part of the reason that I wanted to show you guys this game, though, is that, you know, typically when a console launches, there's usually a lot of games for it that don't hold up super well or are easy to kind of scoff at and say, like, oh yeah, that's the killer app. And certainly Fantavision is not a killer app for the PS2. It wasn't at the start of the console's life, and it certainly isn't now. But I do think it's not deserving of the derision that it gets from people. It's a nice balance of simplicity and complexity, and you can decide how advanced or difficult you want the game to become. Because you can certainly kind of coast by with very basic skills in this game, but you can also learn how to do some technical, flashy combos and use that to build up big scores and just sort of comfortable patterns through a stage. I'm going to let that combo continue because the stage is about to end. So we're going to beat the second stage here in a second. We're going to be treated to another cutscene. I'm going to show you guys what the second area looks like, and then we're just going to go ahead and switch games.
Congratulations.
Yeah, this could easily be a flash game or a mobile game, definitely. I think that it merits looking into this game again. Like, I'd like to see Sony just tighten it up a little bit, come up with some new ideas, release it as a download-only title. I think that would work pretty well. So you can see that the cutscenes are just, they're bizarre. You can save your game, but that doesn't actually save your progress. You do have to beat this game in one shot. Okay, so we're in space already, stage 3. You can save your high scores. And so now that we're in space, we get fireworks coming from directions that have less to do with gravity than before.
Bonus points. Star. Energy up. 6 chain.
So yeah,
4 chain.
that's Fantavision. I think it's a pretty solid game. I think it's... You can get it for like less than $5, and for that price, I think it's worth it. If nothing else, you'll never play another game like it. And on that note, I want to show you guys a game that you're definitely never going to play another game like this. This is another early PS2 game, as you can tell by the blue disc. And this one is just weird. This game sort of defies explanation in a lot of ways. Some of you I know have seen this on other streamers' channels. I'm going to do my best to do it justice because it's been a long time since I've played this game. But there isn't much to say other than that this game is made by Treasure. So if you trust Treasure as a developer, you get an idea of what kind of quality game you're going to get. But this is... It's just a strange game. There's really not much like it. It's essentially a boss rush. This is Stretch Panic. We'll go ahead and start the game. The basic premise of this game is that there's a house full of sisters, and they all have, you know, they're either vain or they're gluttonous, you know, it's basically representing all the different kinds of deadly sins or what have you. And then there's the little girl. I'm going to skip the opening cutscene. That you play as, who has this possessed scarf, which I control using the right analog stick. So I'm moving with the left analog stick, and I can control where this scarf goes with the right analog stick. And then I use R1 to go grab things. None of the other buttons do anything, actually. But so my sisters have all been sort of possessed by these different demons for their vanity or what have you. And it's my job to exorcise them using this demonic scarf. So the first thing that you have to do in this game, because as I said, it is a boss rush, is you have to grind stars. And what stars do is they let you access the boss fight, and they also let you use your bomb attack. Now, how do you get stars? Well, you sneak up behind these very, very buxom women. I'm not making this up. You have to snap their bras. Or grab their hair. And sort of flick the backs of their heads. And I'm seeing from the chat that you guys have not seen this game before, except for maybe Wursel, and I think Ronnie has too. If you try and get them from the front, nothing happens. You have to get them... Their boobs defend them. You have to make sure that you get them from behind so you can get the points that you need to advance in the game. So it's a weird mechanic that there's these EX stages where you have to accumulate these points, and I think that you can either 20 or 50 is the most you can have. So you can kind of do this for as long as you want. It gets weirder too. If you knock them off of a cliff, they use their breasts like a helicopter. Like, there's a lot going on in this game, but there really isn't. You can grab like the earth and pull it up. Like, everything is grabbable in this game, although a lot of it doesn't really accomplish anything. Won't somebody think of the children? This game is rated T. It's rated T for teen. It's not as lewd as it is. It's not the worst. It's just close to being the worst. But the actual boss fights, which I'm going to get to soon, are actually pretty interesting. Yeah, it's not the most politically correct game, that's for sure. I am genuinely surprised that this game came out in the United States. I think a lot of it had to do with the fact that it is an early PS2 title. But when you get into the actual boss fights, it starts to get interesting. Like, these stages are sort of an unfortunate part of this game, honestly. Like, in both context and gameplay, these areas aren't very fun. It's just something you have to do in order to move forward in the game. Oh, I hear a boob copter. Couldn't find it, though. So the stretch comes from the scarf mechanic in Stretch Panic, how you can grab things and pull them. It's used to get points. It's also your main way of dealing damage to the bosses, is attaching your scarf to them and then finding their weak spot. There's a lot of trial and error in this game. And if you like that sort of thing, then it'll be for you. If you hate sort of the guesswork that's involved, it's a short game. Like I said, it's basically all boss fights, so... Alright, 10 points should be enough. So now we just gotta grab our door here. Up. Move around, pinch things, no jump, nothing else. It's... I don't know what I just did there. Oh. My star in the bottom is my, I know what I need to be doing. I can show you guys another thing you can do with a scarf. As soon as I remember how to do it. Yeah, so you can use it as kind of like a grappling hook. To pull you up to different places using R2. So R1 to send the scarf out, and then R2 to launch yourself to where it is. So if I can get that, I can flick myself over there, open the door. So now we'll do an actual boss fight, and you can pick which order you do them in. For the most part. You do need to unlock a couple later sets of them by playing through the game. But the numbers on these doors tell you how many points you need just to open the door. And so we'll start with one of these 1-point doors. You see I spent a point. I'm down from 11 to 10. And we're going to get into the first boss fight. Now there's another wrinkle to this game as well, which is that in order to get the actual good ending, there's a specific action you need to take against each boss in order to get the spirit out, and it usually involves using a bomb. But like figuring out the timing and the weak point that you need to strike with that bomb is what sort of takes a little guesswork or some educated trial and error. One thing that I really like about this game is that, like, artistically, it's pretty impressive. The sprite work. The polygons they're low resolution. They're not super impressive. But there's a lot of, like, interesting filters that are used. Okay, so here you can see I used a different move where I grab onto the enemy and I spin the scarf around. And that sends me into the enemy directly, doing a little bit more damage. I'm doing a pretty good, poor job of controlling the camera, so I apologize about that. And you can see the 2 stars. Mine's in the bottom left. If that star fills up, then I die. And if the one in the top right fills up, then I defeat the boss. Alright, so I'm going to use my bomb here. And there's that little weird floating head thing means that I exorcised the demon from this boss. So I saw a visual cue where the enemy was sort of stunned, and that I took that as my opportunity to grab on to the boss, spend 5 points, and use my bomb attack. And that will allow me to defeat this boss the proper way. I think there's 12 or 14 bosses in total. Some of them are very interesting fights. This is sort of just like a straightforward fight against a giant robot. But there's one boss fight in particular that sticks out in my memory where you're inside of like a castle tower, and the boss is actually outside, and you can see it moving around the tower through the lightning storm that's going on, and you have to grab it through the window before it can jump out of one of the windows and attack you. It's a short little game. It's, again, like, you're not going to play anything like this. Treasure knows how to make interesting boss fights, and it's kind of a shame that that's all that this game is, but at the same token, I don't know that a full-size game using these mechanics would be as fun as it is to just sort of attack different kinds of bosses. Some of the later bosses are pretty difficult, bordering on cheap, but since there's nothing else to do but fight bosses, it's acceptable. It keeps the game going and keeps it from being just over in under an hour. Oh, geez, this is getting close. Alright, that was a pretty close boss fight. And so, here's the sister that I rescued. It looks like a PS1 game in a lot of, like, with a lot of the polygons that they used, but they make better use of the PS2's graphical power by applying the different filters, like the sort of pencil etching filter in this area. And you can see there's a way to go into first person, I think. You can get kind of like a preview of each of the different boss fights that you have to deal with. So there's the robot that I just beat. And now the door reads 0 because I cleared the boss fight. So you don't ever have to like repeatedly grind for points to enter the boss fights, but you do if you want to get enough points to access the bombs to beat them correctly. I think I can show you guys the record room and give you an idea of how much content there is in this game. Lizard Man's here. What's up, Lizard Man? I mean, basically, every one of these paintings is a boss fight, and then once you've done all of them and exercised all the spirits as well, then you finish the game. Let's take a look at one more boss fight. But there isn't too much to show with this game, honestly. Like, this is all you do. So it's just a series of sort of interesting, innovative boss battles using the scarf mechanic, which controls fairly well. It's short. It doesn't overstay its welcome. Some of the boss fights get very difficult, and on top of that, it can be very hard to figure out how to use the bombs correctly. But the designs of the bosses are really cool, and you see some good shadow effects here as well. It's very sort of almost like Tim Burton-esque in a lot of ways. And did a lot of damage. You can see I can even grab objects like the chandelier. I'm gonna get rid of these. Yeah, I can. So it shot out some bombs at me. I was able to pick one up and deliver it back at her to get some extra damage. And then if we can grab the uvula here, I think is what I need to do. But getting that angle just right while it's spinning is kind of difficult. It's a strange game, but it plays well, and it's easy enough to pick up and put down. You don't need to like keep notes on this game or get terribly invested in it. I'm gonna just basically beat this boss without using the bomb attack since I don't have enough points anyways. And so since I didn't exercise the demon, I didn't save the sister, and it plays this sort of bad end music. And if I want to actually clear the boss for good, I have to go back into the later time when I have enough points and try again. But you heal up between every fight. Like there's no... All you need to do is survive each successive boss battle to proceed in this game. It's not too difficult. It's pretty short. But again, like, such an interesting concept for a game. Alright, I actually want to show you guys a couple of rhythm games now, because you guys know I love music games. And the PS2's got a lot of them. And obviously it has Guitar Hero and Dance Dance Revolution, Beat Mania and all that. But there's a couple others as well that I think need to be seen. And this one sort of fits in with the same artistic design that Stretch Panic has. It is a very visually interesting game. And it's pretty fun, too. Radon plays rhythm games? I know. Isn't that weird? Nobody plays those anymore. They're so old and busted. Nobody likes them. But I still like them. So, oddly enough, you wouldn't think that Koei would make a rhythm game, but they totally did. Or they published it at least. This is Gitaroo Man. So it has this sort of interesting, like, almost claymation style animation. There isn't a lot of music to choose from in this game. It's a very short game. Unlike most rhythm games where you have like a song list to choose what song to play, Gitaroo Man is more story-driven, so there's 10 stages, and each stage has its own theme that you have to play. There's 2 difficulties. I think I've got a save file on this memory card. Let's see. Slot 2. Yep, there we go. So you play through the game once on normal difficulty, and you can unlock a second harder difficulty. Much like with Fantavision, the harder difficulty is much, much harder. I want to just kind of show you guys a couple of the stages in this game, show you how the game flows, pick a couple of my favorite stages. I know Jason would be very angry at me if I didn't play this stage, so... The cutscenes are sort of humorous and silly. The premise of this game is that you're playing this kid, U1, who is kind of a nerd, kind of a failure at everything he does, and his dog Puma talks and tells him that he's Gitaroo Man, and gives him this sort of guitar that transforms him into a guitar-playing superhero. And then you battle different enemies to different genres of music. So also like Fantavision, we have sort of a dot in the center of the screen, and we can rotate our analog stick around the dot. For the most part, you can only play this game with one button, but there are sections where you have to use other kinds of buttons, and we'll show you in a second. So we're in the intro phase. You can see in the bottom right, you can see my health bar is very low, so in this section I have to play well to charge my health bar. And the game is very particular about your timing. So not only do you have to be in the right direction, but you need to press the button when the note comes up, hold it for the length of the note, and let go at the right time to maximize your health charging or damage dealing ability. Is the game audio low? Every time I turn it up beyond this point, people are like, the game audio is too high. So let me know. I can turn it up. If anyone else has low game audio, let me know, please. So now we're going to get into the actual attack phase. So we go kind of back and forth, trying to deal damage to each other. So in this section, you have to use the face buttons of the controller, and then in these areas, you're doing damage to your enemy. And the idea is to make their health bar run out before yours does. But I'm doing very poorly. So I will probably die, actually. It's a very challenging game on the harder difficulty. Yeah, I'm about to die. Yeah.
Oh, you lose.
Let's try a different song, and if it's too bad for me, if it's too difficult, I can always tone the difficulty down to the original difficulty level. Let's see.
Gitaroo Man, hero of legend. We have been waiting for this moment for so long.
But each of the stages follow the same progression, where you charge your health, you attack, you defend, and then when you get the enemy's health down low enough, you play an outro. So the song kind of loops until you've made it far enough to damage the enemy and put them down for good, and then you play like an outro to the song at that point. Alright, we'll go ahead and skip the rest of that cutscene. It's kind of a non-traditional take on rhythm games. The fact that it's story driven instead of songless driven. The fact that it's health, like there's a constant battle mechanic to it. is also kind of interesting. It's definitely out there. And this got remade for the PSP. For a while, the PS2 version of this game was very expensive. I don't know if it still is. But the PSP remake, to my knowledge, is much cheaper. And it's a little easier to deal with holding the stick in different directions when you just have sort of thumb contact on that little nub of the PSP.
Pull yourself together. Believe in yourself.
I'm doing very badly.
You won. Take the offensive. Roger.
This game will challenge you to keep your thumb on the analog stick in a way that very few other games will. Alright, now he's gonna come at me in a second here. Bending the note like that is very difficult. Which is why I keep dropping them. You have to, yes, you do have to, you're holding the button for the entirety of the note, Ramses. And you get points for how close you are to, oh my god, alright. You also lose health when you drop these notes, so it's a double, like, not only do you have to defend, but you have to do the attack part as well as... Yeah, it's a hard game on the higher difficulty level, but...
Mama, I've done it again.
Alright, we'll show you guys a song on the easier difficulty first, and then we'll probably switch games. Because there isn't, like I said, there's not a whole lot more to what this game has to offer. It's got 10 stages, 2 difficulties. It has a multiplayer mode where you choose a song and follow the same sort of battle mechanic that you would in any other stage. Am I on single player? Yeah, okay. Yeah, Master Mode is very difficult, Jason. I have finished it, but it is, yeah, the Sandbone Trio level, the level I'm about to play on Master Mode is incredibly difficult, but it's a great song. I enjoy it a lot. You play against these skeletons who have PS2 controllers at their groin area. So yeah, you have to press the note with the correct timing at the start of the note. You have to hold the analog stick in the direction that the note is bending, and then you also have to let go of the note with the correct timing at the end of the charge. So, for as simple as the interface is, playing this game well is very difficult.
What am I supposed to do, Luna? Just dodge, you won. Keep dodging. Finally.
So the part of the challenge of this level is that at the start you have very little health. You have to defend before you get an opportunity to charge your health. So you have to play this part with very few mistakes if you want to make it to the later parts of the song. So like Jason mentioned in the chat earlier, some of the stages do buck the pattern that the phases come out, but they still follow the same basic principles for the most part. There's like one stage that bucks the trend entirely. And I'll show you guys what a complete song looks like. Alright, now the battle begins. I like to do the defense with my fingers sort of spread out on the pad, like in a claw formation, but you don't really get a lot of time to transfer back and forth between attack and defense. So you have to be you have to come up with a method of holding the controller and handling these patterns that works for you. I don't know that there's a right way to play this game in terms of how you keep your hands on the controller, which is interesting. It's an interesting little quirk. Alright, we're going to get the outro here in a second. Because their health is very low. And it doesn't matter how low you get their health, you always have to close out the stage by playing the outro. And if you miss the notes, your health goes down. It is very easy to lose during the last part of the area. So that's what a full stage of the game looks like. As you saw, Masters Mode is not for the faint of heart. You need to be very good at this game before you can tackle that part.
But hey, you did it pretty well all by yourself, didn't you? Yeah, I did.
The game keeps track of your scores per stage, so you can work on improving your performance. It's a very similar, what you'd expect from a rhythm game at the end, where it gives you all the different timing windows, what percentage you hit, how many of them you hit, and it gives you a rank based on your performance. You can also collect items. They don't really do anything. They just sort of fill in little dots in the lore of this game, which, you know, there's not a ton to get involved with, but it's a weird little quirky game. It's got a cool art style. It's got some decent music, and it's got, even though it doesn't have a lot of songs to choose from, the difficulty curve is pretty scaled, regardless of when you start the game. You should have no problem after a couple tries beating the first couple stages, and then by the time you reach Masters Mode after beating the game the first time, you really have to train yourself and improve repeatedly in order to beat those stages as well. So that was the first game, rhythm game, that I wanted to show you guys. There's a second one that I want to show you as well, though, and this one is actually more obscure than Gitaroo Man. Like, I know a lot of people who know about Gitaroo Man. I've only met maybe, I think, 2 people, maybe 3, who know about this next game. It's a very, very weird one. And it's got some music, some remixes of music that if you're an old arcade fan, you might recognize. But it's such a confusing... There's so much to say about this game, and none of it really makes any sense. The reason why I want to show it to you, and hopefully I'll be able to demonstrate it, because it's been a while since I've played it, is that unlike most rhythm games where you're sort of locked into performing the song the way the game wants you to, This game actually gives you some flexibility in terms of how you make combos happen and how you play the song. It's not just pressing the buttons at the right time. There's a little extra element of strategy to it that's very difficult to get the hang of, but interesting nonetheless. My PlayStation thinks it is March 3rd, 2000. It is not. Don't worry, guys. You have not somehow gone back in time. So this is Technic Beat. It is a game by Eureka, who most people would probably remember as the developers of the Street Fighter EX series. But despite the fact that it is made by Eureka, they licensed a lot of game music from Namco for this game. So there's songs from Galaxian and Mappy. I'll show you guys here in a second, actually. It's a very... this game came out in America, but it is a very Japanese game. You can choose your different characters here. You've got a robot. You've got sort of a proto-Sackboy. Here's a platypus named Hassie. Obviously, Hassie is my favorite character. You've got Cart, who's a sort of businessman with a keyboard on his back, and Willie the Bear with a scarf. It's hard to kind of get used to what all the menu options and everything are. It's hard to like get used to what this game is trying to explain, because it's not translated super well. Oh, I'm gonna have to play in arcade mode because I only have the one song. That's okay. It has 2-player modes. It's got like challenges and mission modes. There's a sudden death mode. There's like a license mode where you have to complete different missions. This is a very difficult game to master, and I think that it would take even someone who's used to playing rhythm games a long time to really figure out the intricacies of this game and play it well. Alright, so let's try and find any songs that say Technic Beat are sort of unique to the game. There's a star rating, which tells you how difficult they are. There's a genre and an artist, much like Beatmania or pop music. And if you're a fan of Beatmania or pop music, you'll recognize some of these names, like Aya and Mega, because the group called Sampling Masters, who's done music for Beatmania, as well as the Ridge Racer series, composed most of the songs in this game. So let's try not to just die right away, but I want to find a song that you guys will recognize from a Namco game. And stuff like Yokai Dochuki and Cosmo Gang the Video are a little more obscure. So we may have to go with something a little harder here and just hope we don't mess it up. They have songs based on Ridge Racer and Dragon Spirit, Rolling Thunder, Mappy. Let's try Mappy. Let's see if I can do this. It's been a long time since I played this game. So, the basic premise of this game is that you have circles, that the ring expands to the outside, and you have to be inside the circle and trigger it when it hits the outside of the ring. Oh, I used my power. Every character has a superpower. But you have to move around this stage, and you can drag circles. This character can drag circles. So you basically have 3 buttons. You have your normal trigger of the circle, which is square. You've got your character power, which for Hassie is how he drags the circles. And you can do it at any timing with him, but wherever the circle lands, it will automatically trigger any other circles that it lands on top of. So you can kind of build a combo up, especially because he's a slower character. You have to, in order to actually play the notes. And then you've got your superpower, which makes him very large and automatically trips any circles that he touches. So it's a very strange game. It is really, really hard to get the hang of. I've never been able to get especially good at it. Okay, here we got some more familiar Namco songs. In the 5 difficulty, we've got Pac-Mania and Dig Dug and Xevious. Let's go with Dig Dug. The music in this game is pretty good. It doesn't hook me the way the other music games do, but it's listenable. You get that nice cartoon El Kabong sound effect when you miss a note. You can see it gets pretty difficult. Because you can break notes that are already comboed by dragging them and ruin the pattern that the game is already trying to get you to use. Alright, I failed that stage. But that gives me an opportunity to show you how some of the other characters work, because each character has their own different mechanics. Which means that it's not simply like learning the songs, it's not simply learning the pattern of the songs, it's not simply, knowing what parts of the stage to move to where you can expect notes. Depending on which character you pick, you can play each song differently and build combos in a different way as well. So I'm going to use the main character, I'm going to use Nitty. I can show you guys the bear in a second as well, but Nitty's got a pretty... I like Nitty and Hassie's powers. Being able to slide the notes and automatically trigger them is pretty useful. Let's see what we got here. We'll do Broken Shackles. But Nitty's power is that he can pick up a circle and walk with it. And you still have to trigger it with the square button. But you can get some interesting combos going this way. That organ is really bad. And then his power is creating a very big circle that he can use to activate a lot of notes on the screen at the same time. And so you can use your superpower 3 times per song. But your normal power, so like picking up the circles, I can do that as many times as I want. Did the composer of Ninja Gaiden Trilogy do this song too? No, there's not enough xylophone. So it's kind of cool because not only are there a lot of songs that you can learn how to play and figure out, but each character adds a different way of playing the song. So you can get good at a song with one character, and then you have to try it with a different character, and you might find it to be completely different. Because they have different powers, they have different walk speeds. Like, Nitty here is a lot faster than the platypus was. Oops. Yeah, I'm not going to pass this stage either. But I like that, like, it's not just here's a song and here's 3 different note charts for that song of increasing difficulty. It's figuring out how the song goes and then how the character that you want to play it as needs to handle the pattern using their ability. So, you know, with the platypus, you have to make sure that you're sliding into big gaps because you can't walk to different parts of the stage fast enough in order to keep the combo going. I'll be honest, I do not remember what the bear's power is, so we're going to have to figure that out. There's lots of unlocks. You can unlock songs. You can unlock pictures. We just got a picture right now. So you get sort of this art gallery of character designs and whatnot. I don't know that this game ever had an arcade version. I don't think it did. And I've only been showing you guys the arcade mode. I might have the opportunity to show you. It has courses, like a lot of rhythm games do. They call it channel mode. We'll go with the bear here. So we got beginner's channel. This one's called Masterpiece Forest. That sounds pretty good. Okay, so he's pretty slow. He also picks up notes. Although it seems like he can pick up entire chains. And then his big power is Big Wave, which creates a... So he's very similar to the main character in a lot of ways. He's slower, but he makes up for it by being able to pick up entire chords if they're already connected. An unfortunate thing about this game is that because they are the notes are beat mapped, if you aren't good at the timing of the notes, as I am not, as you can clearly see, it sounds pretty not great. when your timing is off in this game, the music sounds even worse, and since it's already kind of meh in a lot of ways, it just sort of gets worse from there. Uh-oh, losing life. Yeah, so the game is actually expecting me to pick those up, those multiple note circles, and carry them into the next block, because otherwise there's no way that I can trip all of them with the correct timing. So it is pretty... this is Technic Beat, Capybara. Alright, so I get to pick which stage I want here. We'll go with Ridge Racer. There's an element of strategy and creativity in being good at this game. Uh-oh. Yeah, alright. So there goes my course. I did a little bit better on that one than I did on the others. I want to show you guys one more mode of this game, and then we'll move on to the next game in the list. So we'll look at the level certification mode. And we'll go with our keyboard businessman friend here. So this game kind of ranks you based on your performance. Let's go with the mission mode then, because that's just a sort of a way to rank yourself. I think this is actually more mission based. Yeah, so you start off with very easy. You have a clear percentage, and it'll say you activate 1 marker, activate 3 markers. So this is a good way to actually learn the game by completing different challenges. Let's go. So, score 40,000 points or more. And the game picks the song for me. And it has a much easier kind of difficulty curve to get used to. Again, graphically, it's not the kind of game that's going to blow you away. But I just like the creativity that it offers, that rhythm games typically don't give you that kind of freedom to figure out the best way to play the game. There's always like a right way to do it, and anything other than that is typically not going to get you the results you want. And this game is more open to experimentation and trying different things. So there you go. That's Technic Beat. Definitely something you can try if you are sick of the same old rhythm games, but you want to try something that's also, of that genre. It's a very different take, while still keeping a lot of the same basic tenets in place. All right, so this is normally where I would do an import block, but all of my import PS2 games are rhythm games. And I felt like it would kind of be overkill for me to just sort of lean heavily into that. So we're going to carry on. This is going to be all domestic games you can get. But we have kind of stayed... Technic Beat came out, I think, around 2003, 2004. But we've stayed pretty close to the launch window of the PS2 so far. And I don't think that's going to change here, because this was also a pretty early PS2 game, as I recall. But it's one that I think has a lot of really cool action to it. I think it moves very fluidly, and I just think it looks, even though it's not graphically incredible, I think it conveys visually sort of the feeling of fun. Like, I think if you watch me play this game, even though I'm not good at it and I don't remember how to play it, it moves at a high enough frame rate and has a good clip of action to it that it looks as fun as it feels to play. Working designs did not do a lot on the PS2, but that's because they folded pretty much right after the PS2 came out. Alright. This is Gungriffon Blaze. Which is a mech combat game. And as I said, like, a lot of early PS2 games look pretty much like PS1 games. But this game's frame rate is impressive. I think that even though the models aren't extremely in-depth, the game moves very well. And you can unlock, when you're playing through the actual campaign, you can unlock all kinds of different bodies and extra parts for your robot. They all sort of display what's going on here. You got a quick reload. We've got advanced armor, an evasion move, a way to recover from jumping faster. There's a lot of customization that you can get involved with in this game. And it feels, in a lot of ways, like a... like a flight simulator. But it has that sort of... Once you can get past the menus, it has that very kind of like pick up and play feel to it. So your left stick is to move, your right stick is to move, your left stick is to aim, which is backwards from what you might be used to, but I think you might be able to change that in the options menu. And the game is like your mechs move very fast. The frame rate is so good in this game. It's just really fun to play. Like, even if you're not getting involved in the story mode, and you just kind of want to dink around and play a couple missions after a day of work or something like that, it's responsive. It controls very, very well. And the music in this game is pretty good too. Working Designs did a lot of games, not a lot, but they did a chunk of games at the start of the PS2 era, and I think a lot of them are kind of just meh, like the remake of Sylphid. The controls are very sensitive. That is one thing about this game. But I think Gungriffon Blaze holds up pretty well. It's a very basic, sort of simple game, but it's really responsive. It's complex to set up, but not complex to play. Not sure where the other enemy fortifications are. You can the fact that you can customize your mech, but at the same time it doesn't take 20 minutes to get set up the way you want, is really great. Once you get used to the twin stick controls, like I'm doing a very poor job of demonstrating it, but once you get used to those controls, they work very well. I keep looking down at the ground. I wish I'd stopped doing that. I'm used to flight controls, and this game's defaults are up is up and down is down. But you can just kind of play for score when you're just doing the quick play. And I like that you just have like a selection of missions to choose from. You aren't limited by what you've unlocked or anything like that. Like, you have the option of just playing a couple battles without getting invested in the story. Part flight simulator, part Virtua On is a pretty good description of this game, I think. Because with the amount of data in the HUD and the amount of customization that you do at the start of a level, you know, you boot this game up and you're like, oh, like, what did I get into here? But it's really straightforward and it's mostly action based. I cannot tell what's going on. Okay, there we go. I just like the frame rate in this game. I like the action. I like the destructible environments, as simple as they are satisfying to shoot. Like, I think this is a nice little game that you can just pick up and play whenever you feel like. You can get invested in the campaign, or you can just dink around and shoot stuff. I'm not doing a very good job of making this game look that exciting, I think. Because I can't find the targets that I'm looking for. I never quite got the full hang of this game, but like I hope that what I said is at least becoming apparent, that you can tell just by watching the game how clean it moves and how fluid your robot, like, it's not like a lot of games like Mech Warrior or things like that, you know, you'll get the sense that your robot is sort of like ka-chunk, ka-chunk, taking these slow labored steps. And in this game, it's very much fast-paced, sort of dashing around everywhere, kind of slippery, almost drift-style controls. Alright. Let's see if we can't pick a different mission here. And let's go with something difficult. You get good with the controls. You can sort of strafe and attack at the same time, keeping yourself safe while still landing your shots. Ugh. I think I just shot my own teammate. Each of the different guns behaves differently. So the minigun has this icon on the bottom of the screen that indicates how fast my barrel is spinning. I ended up getting this game without ever having seen it before, and I was really just kind of impressed by how well it ran. and how much access you have to different parts of the, like, you know, this is basically flat land with some trees and some rocks, but the fact that you can jump up on the mountain, that you can climb a waterfall with your jump jets, like, it's got little things like that that make it feel like a lot more than just a basic, simple kind of combat game. There isn't a lot more that I can say about this game, though, so I'm probably going to switch games here pretty quickly. Alright, I think that's enough of Gungriffon Blaze. It's a lot of fun. Hopefully it looks fun, because I did a very poor job of explaining how fun I find it to be. But out of the 10 games on this list, this is definitely the one that I know the least about. I've just kind of picked it up and played it and been like, man, like, I enjoy playing this game. And that's ultimately, isn't that what really matters? Isn't that the important things in life, guys? Alright, let's get into the back half of our list here, and this next game is kind of a rarity, in that it is a superhero game that's actually pretty fun to play. Most games based off of superheroes, you know, kind of fail to capture the essence of what makes that hero who they are, like why it's fun to think about their abilities or what they can and can't do. And a couple of games have nailed it, but generally it's pretty hard to sort of capture that feel. And this game, I think, did a very good job of nailing that feel. If you haven't tried The Incredible Hulk Ultimate Destruction, it's worth a look. I really think that this game is, for the most part, it gets a little frustrating towards the end, but you can just kind of enjoy being the Hulk and destroying everything that you want to destroy. This game came out in 2005. I think around the same time that like the Ultimate Spider-Man game came out, and where that one was sort of a like a free roaming kind of brawler type game. This game is more based around level design. But you have a lot of like upgrades you can buy and things, and the basic idea behind this game is that if you can see it, you can destroy it. And because of that, it does a really good job of making you feel like you're controlling the Hulk. The plot is exactly what you'd expect from a Hulk game. You know, Banner wants to stop being the Hulk. The army's trying to stop him. Abomination is there. Yeah, the cutscenes aren't super great. I'm just going to be skipping a lot of them just to keep this from becoming a super long showcase. Now, one criticism I could levy against this game is that it is kind of one note for the most part. You only play as the Hulk. We're going through the tutorial right here, so that's how I move. You can punch stuff. This game rocks. Yeah, this game is a lot of fun. You can do a dash here and sort of shoulder tackle them. You can pick stuff up and throw it. Or you can hit stuff with it. Did he put on an Oculus Rift? Pretty much, yeah. The idea is that this soldier is doing like a VR simulation of what the Hulk can do. Alright, let's throw that. Let's do our combo.
Pressing the special button will activate Hulk's more advanced techniques, unleashing everything he's got. These will often launch or stun any one hit. As with Hulk's other techniques, holding the button will increase the power of each technique.
So I can grab a dude and just throw him into space, which is pretty fun to do. I can just, like, punch his ribs. Let's get a good camera angle here as we just throw that guy into a rock. Can I skip this? I can. Okay. Just gonna pick this guy up, look up, and I want to stop hitting those rocks. Alright, now we get into kind of the fun stuff here. Because this game is just all about destructible environments. You can do some Hulk jumping. You can kind of combo them together. The longer you hold it, the higher and the farther you jump. So it's like part... Honestly, it feels like part Mech Assault, part Rampage. If that makes sense. Alright. Now we're going to learn about Hulk's jumping ability.
Hulk's primary method of movement is his ability to leap long distances. Even his smaller jumps are considered impossible by most standards. Follow the instructions on your display to familiarize yourself with this phenomenon.
And now I have to collect all the markers. So you play your level, and then each level has a certain subset of missions. You get points, which you can use to upgrade Hulk and get different moves. It's really just a satisfying game to punch the crap out of stuff and knock buildings down. And it's not a PS2 exclusive. That's available on GameCube and Xbox as well. But this is the version that I have. This is the version that I first got to experience. And I wish that I could skip these tutorial parts, because when you start getting into like combat and things like that, it gets pretty pretty hectic, actually. You found comic book 1 of 60. So yeah, you can unlock different like art gallery things. Okay, so we get a bonus if we do the rest of the exercises. We learn a new move if we do all the tutorial stuff. But I just want to show you guys this game. Show you guys a couple levels real quick. So we'll just go ahead and exit this area. Lungfishopolis vibes. Like, yeah, okay. Alright, skipping cutscenes. Just want to punch stuff. More cutscenes. Alright, so we got to escape from the military. We can punch them. You get points for whenever you defeat an enemy. And power-ups. So you use those points to buy new moves. Which is kind of an odd idea for the Hulk to be like, oh, what if I use this kind of punch? It's got a decent combo system. Like, this guy is so dead. And a tree fell on him. Like, yeah, that guy is very, very dead. gotta get to our objective, so. Nah. Alright, we're just gonna ignore. That stuff, but tanks are a little harder to ignore, so. Let's there. Tank is dealt with. Yeah, the camera was taking cover. That cameraman was staying safe, which is smart. When you're caught between the US Army and the Incredible Hulk, taking cover is a smart idea. So there's little collectibles you can find in the buildings. Hulk has taken damage. He's getting rocketed in the face. Alright. Hulk is out of here. There's a lot of cutscenes and storyline going on right now, but it's not super important. The important thing is that it's fun to punch stuff. The combo system's good. Having upgrades is great. The Hulk runs and jumps and dashes exactly the way you think he would, leading to a game that is very fluid and fun to play. The only real problem is that it's very hard to, like Rampage, once you have a lot of enemies kind of shooting you and like firing missiles and tanks rolling in, it becomes very hard to avoid taking damage. You kind of just want to tank your way through most situations, like targeting the right enemies at the right time, but killing stuff to get power-ups to keep your health up. So we're going to go to the city. Alright, so we have to beat up the cops is our first level. The physics in this game are pretty robust too for a PS2 game. I've got these markers on screen. Just pick up this phone booth and beat that cop with a phone booth. There's a lot of murder in this game. Like, the Hulk is not knocking these police officers out. They're not surviving that, you know? If I just like run up, I find this cop, and here's a fashion store, so I just like throw him into that civilian, you know? So you just sort of generate these missions as you go on. There's some pretty good boss fights in this game. Yeah, I would play that game too, Fat Pack. Like, And this game comes actually not that far away from it, in all honesty. Oh yeah, and you can do some really cool running along buildings in this game. You can run up buildings, you can run across and jump from building to building. I can target this car, and I can throw it into this ocean, or at that dude. Man, the Hulk is a dick. It's just really fun. It's just really fun being asshole Hulk. You can grab onto buildings full rampage style and ascend to great heights. Pick up this vent and just throw it off into space. Physics, that's right. You can kind of space punch across the sky. Like, the Hulk is ridiculous, and this game just leans into that. And the fact that you get points that you can use to upgrade your abilities by just blowing stuff up is... This game knows exactly what it does well. Like, why is the Hulk hitting civilians with a light post? Who knows? That guy just got shot up a building. Like, I am playing... I am playing poor bastard baseball with this guy. So, senseless violence, you know, check. Alright, so we gotta destroy some substations. That guy's pretty durable, yeah. I mean, he's probably all just like pulp on the inside now, but the fact that he didn't just explode into like meat is pretty impressive. Graphically, for 2005, this isn't the best, but it runs well. And the controls are really fluid and fun. And that's the important thing, is that this game makes me want to play as the Hulk. You know, a lot like how a Spider-Man game needs to really nail the web slinging. This game really captures kind of the unbridled strength and ridiculous ability of the Hulk. And then, of course, as you blow stuff up, the cops show up, and then you grab a bus, and you just tell them that they should probably not mess with you because you're the Hulk. It's all very nuanced. And you take their puny cop car, and you throw it at more cop cars. And then you throw it into the bay. Because you're the Hulk, and you can do that. This was the best Hulk anything at that time, yeah. Considering this was 2005 and we were dealing with the Eric Bana Hulk movie around that era, this is a big step up. You can kind of decide, do you want to deal with the cops that are dealing with you and gain some extra points and maybe take some less damage in the long run? Or do you want to... I just blew up a cop car by throwing a dude at it. Do you want to go straight for the objectives? Because you're the Hulk and you can tank a lot of damage. I want to explode another car by throwing a human at it. This taxi will do. Aww. This is what a 3D... Yeah, exactly. This is ostensibly a 3D Rampage game. And unlike later Rampage games, or most Rampage games, this game is a lot of fun. It's dumb, smashy fun. Why would you want anything else from an Incredible Hulk game? You want me to explode? I don't think there's human exploding physics in this game, unfortunately. But I can dash at this lady. Like, there's just chaos happening around the Hulk as he runs through these streets. It's phenomenal. Like, unlike in Grand Theft Auto where, you know, you can get distracted by the city around you and not want to do the missions, like, in this one you can just go into the missions and then start going crazy. Alright, I'm gonna grab this guy. No, I'm gonna grab this guy. He's running like an idiot. Look at his run animation. You deserve this, sir. You deserve this. Okay. Now we're gonna go up a building. Yep, up a building, up a building. Nope, not done yet. Alright, now we're just going to jump and throw. Yeah, no, this Hulk is just all about straight murder. Like, no question. This Hulk is into murder. By taking the family truckster from National Lampoon's Vacation and chucking it at cops, and then picking dead cops up and throwing them at ambulances, and then picking ambulances up and administering medical care the only way the Hulk can. I'm a doctor. I'm a doctor. Alright, let's actually do the mission now. By charging your jumps intelligently and holding the run button down, you can really just kind of create a wave of destruction. There's a mission? Yeah, kind of. I'm supposed to be destroying 3 substations. What's up, Abe the Mutakon? How's it going? The military's gone. Oh, we got a big inflatable gorilla. Can I pick it up? Oh, yeah. Alright. Someone's getting... Hey, officer. I am killing cops with a big inflatable car dealership gorilla. Like, how can you not think this game is good? Alright. We'll see you later. Now I'm using it as a... I'm using this inflatable gorilla as a hang glider. Guys, Incredible Hulk Ultimate Destruction is amazing. It's such a good, fun game. You can use inflatable car dealership gorillas as hang gliders. I wanna get to higher ground here. Okay. Time to go, Hulk.
What in the world are you doing?
I'm using an inflatable car dealership gorilla as a hang glider. Because that's what the Hulk does. Look, I didn't make this game. Perfect chaos. Alright, time to destroy a substation with an how does this even work? How is this thing still durable? Okay, it's gone. I'll miss you, Gorilla. Alright, objective complete. Mission complete. We got a bunch of new stuff on our map here. And so you've got like different hub areas you can go to. Story missions and challenge missions. So let's find a challenge mission. Alright, no, you know what? I'm sad about my gorilla. Fast Mover 6. So we got an obstacle course. Magilla, no. So we have a Hulk obstacle course. And even though this is like a stupid, silly, like throwaway generic mission premise, the Hulk is so fun to control that it's not it's acceptable. And you get points that you use to upgrade and get better moves. So, you know, it's totally okay. Like, this is how the Hulk deals with an obstacle course. Someone brought up Crackdown earlier, and I think this game is a lot. It has a lot in common with Crackdown, in terms of sort of that feeling of overwhelming power that you have at a lot of points in this game. You just blow stuff up. Try not to get shot at too much. You know, find the inflatable gorilla. It's a fun game, and if you haven't tried it before, I really recommend it because it gets challenging towards the end, but up until that point, even though it's sort of almost on autopilot in terms of the difficulty, that's what a Hulk game should be. You really shouldn't run into a lot of like stiff opposition. I want to show you guys the shop, though, if I can. Map. Jump marker. Okay. The Psy 2012. Yeah, we're playing Hulk Ultimate Destruction right now. How's it going? Me too, man. Me too. Okay, Hulk is there. Hulk needs to keep going generally in this direction. And the fact that this game is available on all of this generation's consoles means you really don't have an excuse not to try it. No matter what system you want to play it on, the experience is largely the same. And it's a heck of a lot of fun. I'm doing good. I'm doing good. Thank you. I'm just showing off some PS2 games that maybe people have never tried before tonight. We're about to wrap up on Hulk here. Oh, dang it. That's part of the problem is if you're charging moves, you'll end up where you want to be and not be able to stop yourself. But alright, we're going to go back to the church so that hopefully I can show you guys what the shop menu looks like in this game. Yeah. So, Steel Fist, Dashing Straight, Punt Kick, Smash Express, Critical Atomic Slam. And I'll tell you how to do it and what it does. And I think once you get certain moves, like, more show up in the shop. Oh, that's rough, man. I'm sorry. I've had some games stolen from me in the past, too. It's no fun. So here's my new move. My air stomp. We'll show it in action with some of the havoc I can wreak, and then we'll move on to the 7th game of the night. Yeah, PS2 is a great system. You know, a lot of the games for it are fairly cheap, though, so at least there's that. So see, every little move you get really adds up, and your ability to create chaos and destruction. This game is satisfying, guys. There's no other way to put it. It's fun to be the Hulk in this game. I'd love to see an HD remake of this game with a better physics engine. But that's probably never going to happen. Alright, let's move on. Definitely try this game, though. It's a lot of fun if you haven't played it before. Alright, 7th game of the night. I thought of Wursel because you had asked about good Devil May Cry style games to play. And for me, one of the best Devil May Cry style games to play that's not a Devil May Cry game also came from Capcom. And I've seen some negative comments about this game in the past, and sure, it can be a little grindy, it can be a little repetitive, but I like the style of this game, I like the music, and there's so many abilities to get. It requires you to play through the game multiple times to really max out your character. So if you're the kind of person who wants to get every move that a character has and really get the full breadth of what they're capable of, there's a lot of replay value to go back to in this game. Alright, so this is Chaos Legion, which is sort of Capcom taking the Devil May Cry engine and making some minor tweaks, adding some really gothic style architecture, and coming up with something that I think if you just want a beat 'em up that the story's not great in this game, but if you want a beat 'em up, more kind of game that plays like Devil May Cry, Chaos Legion is where it's at. Now, this game starts off like a lot of games do, where you start off with all your end game abilities. So it'll look like I'm way overpowered, but this is just sort of the prologue chapter. This game's a little on the loud side. But there's an experience system. There's a combo system. It's a little less fluid than Devil May Cry is at the start. Oh yeah, Drakengard's a great game too. So one of the mechanics in this game is that you can kind of like throw a stun on enemies. The base mechanics of this game are Devil May Cry style controls with a big upgrade tree. You've got the ability to stun lock a single enemy in place, and then when you have enough bar, you can summon a legion, which is kind of like a summon that annihilates or helps you annihilate the things around you. I've always had kind of a soft spot for this game, though, because I think, like, it kind of cuts away at some of what makes Devil May Cry great, but at the same time, it's sort of a different approach. I really like buying and upgrading abilities in any game, and this game puts a huge emphasis on being able to do that from stage to stage. So there's a lot of incentive to get a big combo and get lots of points. And I just died, I think. Whoops. Let's try not to do that again. I wish I had a save file that I could just like skip ahead and show you guys some of the later stages, but they are all pretty linear. There's not a lot of like item collection and the minor puzzle solving that occasionally pops up in a Devil May Cry game. This one's pretty much just straight action. There's some cool enemy designs, like the characters are pretty flat for the most part, but artistically I like the way the game looks. I like the direction taken with the monster design. Here we go. That's all very straightforward. There's the Legion I have equipped and my current stats. Dead. D-E-D dead. So even though I'm kind of overpowered in this prologue area, primarily because of the Legion that I have, for being completely honest, that's the only reason that I'm kind of OP. There's still so much more you can learn as you play through the game. And because of that heavy emphasis on acquiring skills, it's kind of worth it to play through a stage more than once if you think you can get more experience, get a larger combo, finish in a faster time, and really get that experience point counter-up so that you can get the moves you want. Alright, let's go ahead and call my boy. Yeah, instead of like exploring, you pretty much are confined to these sort of specific battles that you get into. There is still a little bit of exploration in this game, but the emphasis is very low. Just spam the Legion, because my health is too low. Man, this game is so loud. I actually have to turn my headphones down. Oh, right, I forgot I could do that. Okay. Yeah, so I can also summon my Legion to sort of hang out and help me combo some dudes, not just do an ultimate attack. I want that life up. I want to at least show you guys the shop so you can get a sense of what kinds of upgrades you can get. Because to me, that's the heart and soul of this game. If it was just the action, I would say Devil May Cry is definitely the way to go. But I just like the breadth of upgrades you can pull for your character. And there's so many enemies to fight through. It's almost a little like Dynasty Warriors at times. I think this game had a PC port. I don't know if it was on any of the systems. I don't think it was on the Xbox. This guy stayed behind. He's like, I'm not going down there. That was a waste. Why did I do that? Well. Right before the boss fight, too. I'm an idiot. It did get a PC port. Okay. I thought so. I'm about to get wrecked. See, if it seems broken, that summon, it's because it is. I'm not supposed to have that until the end of the game, but you start the game with it. So we get a new sword crest, got a cutscene, kind of show off some of the artistic direction of this game. So now my crest has been broken, and I have to collect all the pieces to get him back. But I have that new sword crest, so I'm not left without a summon.
What's happened to the Legion's power? Huh. The time has come. It's time to show you the abyss of the darkness.
Sheila.
Voice acting in this game is pretty
To save you,
bad.
but you saved me.
What did you see? Dreaming of Sela's forgiveness? Come, join me, and I shall liberate you from the dark spirit.
Dufon has been destroyed.
Alright, we're going to skip that part. So here's where I get my rating. I got pretty good, except for against the boss and my soul usage. I get an item. I can change the difficulty level. No, I'm good, thanks. I know I died like twice, but... Okay, we got a new sword crest. So I want to equip my new one. And there's 7 different crests you can get. I can use my experience to level up my Legion. And this is how I can just do base stats, attack and defense. If I level up each Legion's force, assist, and enchant, I get perks as well as new moves. So I can send up to 4. I get Midnight Punisher level 2 if I do this one. Or I have a new action called Rising Phoenix, and I get attack power plus 10. But I don't get to keep any of my experience from the tutorial stage. But here's how you can see, like with the Sword Legion, there's the active mode and the passive mode. It basically just follows me around and does what I do. Can summon 3 Legionnaires. They form a protective ring and start to attack the surrounding enemy. Lets you make up to 5 sword slashes in succession. So, depending on which one you want to use, you get access to different abilities. Let's go ahead and start the next stage. And then we'll show off a little bit of stage 2 here. And then we will go ahead and move on to the 8th game of the night. Because PS2 games take a little bit longer to show than other games. So I don't want to be on for too long tonight. But I do want to show you guys the other games that I have in mind. I can call out my friend here, and I have these 3 like little extra swordsmen, and that's what this crest allows me to do, is basically just have some extra firepower in terms of numbers. Nothing fancy, nothing crazy, but a useful skill nonetheless. But the game just follows this basic formula of, kill a bunch of stuff, try not to get hit, get a lot of experience, level up your legions, get new abilities. I think it's a lot of fun. I do think it's repetitive. I will agree 100% with that complaint about this game. But it's challenging, and the game grows with you in terms of the new things you can learn how to do. It's basically like a 3D beat 'em up. Alright, so that's Chaos Legion. Pretty much all you need to know right there about that game. Alright, let's move on to our 8th game of the night. And this is another high-profile game that I think a lot of people have heard of, but maybe not seen in action. And I remember this game getting kind of unfair comparisons, naturally to Grand Theft Auto. But this game is it's not a Grand Theft Auto game. If you go into it expecting Grand Theft Auto, then yeah, you're going to be disappointed. But it's something different. And I really love this game's sense of style. I think it can be a little frustrating in a couple areas, but for the most part, this is honestly one of my favorite PS2 games. Because I think it's more ambitious than a lot of games dared to be in this era. So this is a first-party Sony game. I think they really did a great job with this game. This is the Getaway. And it really captures the feel of like a early to mid 2000s, like English heist movie. You could expect someone like Guy Ritchie or that same generation of directors to make a movie like this, but this is its own thing. It's a game. It's got a great story. It's well acted. Graphically, it's a little rough around the edges. I think I still have a save file for this game. Let me check real quick. Prepare for Cockney accents abound. Yeah. You will learn about all kinds of rude things that English people say. No game. Okay, so we're going to have to start a new game. Basically, you play as Mark Hammond, a former gang member who gets out of gang life, has a wife and kid, but gets pulled back in.
She's one of Charlie's specials. Special people with special jobs. She used to be on the game until she found her true calling.
What are you talking about, Harry?
She does some wet jobs. Charlie says they never see it coming from a bird.
What? She's a topper?
Oh yeah, mate. She's not the slightest bit squeamish about a bit of claret.
What the fuck do you need someone like that on a job like this? It's a little bit simple frightener. We pick up the bird, we pick up the kid, and we take him to Charlie.
You going soft eyebrows? Getting scruples, mate. Don't you know things have an habit of getting complicated?
Complicated? What could be complicated about picking up some bird and her kid?
You're on your way down. And what are you looking at? Oh, nothing to say? Good. Fucking Charlie. Said I'd be working with professionals, not a bunch of bloody has-beens.
Shut it, here they come. Right, let's do the business then.
Watch and learn something. You move when I tell you to move. But wait till they've locked the door. The first rule, never leave a transaction an obvious route of escape. Let's go.
Transaction? Christ, what a bitch.
Dad told me you might be captain of the squad this year. How do you like that? Mrs. Hammond, could we have a word? We've got a few questions we'd like to ask you. Yeah? Who's asking? We'd like to discuss this in private if we could. You're not the police. Since when the police start dressing like common tarts? You bitch! Run at him in the car! Move!
Zeus!
Idiots! Bloody amateurs!
Come on, get in the car!
So normally I've been skipping the cutscenes, but like this game is so cinematic that I don't feel like I'd be doing it justice if I was skipping this.
Get up, way back. Get up, boy.
Zeus! Susie! Ah!
So it is Grand Theft Auto-esque in that, yes, you do steal cars in this game, and yes, there's a lot of criminal activity going on, but it's not open-ended like Grand Theft Auto is. This game has an open-ended world, but what's really great about this is that it uses a very minimalistic HUD. So you see my blinker is on. That's indicating that in order to complete my mission objective, I need to make a turn. This game is designed to be as cinematic as possible. So there's not a lot of HUD cluttering up the screen. If you want to know how many bullets are in your gun, you have to you have to pop the clip and check how many bullets are in the gun. If you want to know which way to go, you have to follow your turn signals. And this is England, so you do have to also drive on the left side of the road, which I am usually not very good about doing. You take a lot of car damage in this game. You need to learn how to drive very cleanly. But This game is a really... Oh, I gotta get out of this car. Yeah, you actually have to... You have to lean against the wall to get health back, which is ridiculous because you'll get a gut shot and you'll have blood all over your shirt, and then you just lean against the wall and you're better. But... you do actually have to rest in order to... I'm about to lose the mission. You actually have to kind of step out of the firefight and not get hit if you want to stay alive. This is actually a recreation of the Soho neighborhood in London, so it is reasonably recreated. It's not authentic, but it's, you know, it's a decent enough job. There is a sequel to this game, The Getaway Black Monday. It was not as good as the first one. And they were working on a third one for the PS3 for a long time, but it just never materialized, unfortunately. So, reasons to play this game, really, first and foremost, the atmosphere and the story. It is, in most other aspects, sort of a clunkier Grand Theft Auto. You do missions on foot. You do missions. You do these driving segments. You eventually have to outrun the police, and that is both tricky and a little repetitive. The cops in this game, for the most part, are pretty good about sort of using smart tactics to get you off the road. They'll put down tire strips and pop your tires. They'll come up alongside you and try and steer you into posts and things like that to stop your car. It's a very challenging game, and it has twists and turns that I don't want to spoil. But by the end of the game, you really have a strong emotional connection with the story, and the final missions are really cathartic and satisfying as a reward for playing through the rest of the game. Alright, so when both lights are on, that means we are at our destination.
He's got to be here somewhere. What's all that about? I don't know. I've got a bad feeling about this.
Did not remember the shooting controls. There we go. So again, this game is minimal HUD, so the only way I can tell what my health is the blood stains on my clothes. So I'm pretty beat up right now. I'm going to lean against a wall, and you're going to see the blood stain diminish. It's very, very unrealistic, but it creates for an experience that just, the screen is clean. It doesn't need to show you any information other than what it's already showing you. I want to be able to show you guys also inspecting the clip here. And the lean begins, yep. You don't have to press anything to pick up another weapon. If there's a better weapon on the ground, you just walk over it, and Mark picks it up. Like, the whole experience is designed to just be fluid, aside from the excessive wall leaning, which is just sort of a necessary evil. But the dialogue in this game is great. There's a lot of great characters. It's difficult. It's a very tough game. There's only, I think, 24 levels, but it ramps up in challenge very quickly. Wursel, I think you said you've played through the game. If you recall the level where you have to break into the police station, that is an infamously difficult level. Alright, let's have a lean. I'm about to die. Yeah, it's a really it's a really hard game. But there's some at least some decent checkpointing. Basically, anytime you have to leave a driving segment and start an on-foot segment, the game checkpoints. Anytime you have to leave an on-foot segment and go to a driving segment, the game checkpoints. Now, in terms of actual being able to stop the game, you do need to complete the mission in order to save the game to your memory card and pick up from that point. But you can kind of you can kind of just sort of get used to the level and try it a few times, and eventually, hopefully, you get far enough into it that you don't need to worry about stopping the game and starting over. There's a lot of challenge to be had in this game. I'm being very careless because it's the first level. Normally, you really can't be this reckless. You will get killed extremely quickly. But if you're into, you know, gangster fiction, this game's got a really great story. It's got an amazing villain. There's a couple characters that are a little harder to like, but for the most part, the interaction between Mark Hammond and Charlie, the mob boss, is really fun to watch play out. I would really love to see Sony go back and revisit this game, do a Getaway 3. I think it would be, I think they could do a good job with it. Ideally, I'd like to see a company like Naughty Dog handle it, but, you know, Team Soho did a great job with this game, and I'd be okay with that same creative team coming back and revisiting this world. You can turn subtitles on if you have a hard time with the English, the UK English. It only applies to the cutscenes, though. Okay, I'm pretty beat up. It's always satisfying when he says that after you, like, explode a barrel. Alright, so that's the end of the first level.
Johnson, you bastard! us, okay?
Morning, sunshine. Good to see you again. Did you sleep well? You look a little drowsy. Grievous, bring the boy around. I want his undivided attention.
Where's my son, you fat bastard?
Patience, Mark, my boy. Morning, good time.
Morning, you Charlie. You don't tell me where my son is, you better kill me now.
Is that any way to greet an old friend? Stop talking and start listening, Hammond. You're in no position to be making demands.
This is all about, Charlie. I thought you'd retired. You know I have. I'm not with the Collins' gang anymore. You know that. I'm running a nightclub. I've been out nearly 2 months and I'm not in the life. I don't do this shit anymore!
Relax, son. You'll do yourself an injury.
Do you an injury, Charlie? I fucking swear I'll kill you.
Eyebrows. Eyebrows. Make the boy listen. Can you hear me? Are you listening now, Marky boy? Put him in the chair. Do I have your attention now, Marky boy? We're gonna play a little game. Do you like games, son? Eyebrows, give me the phone. This is the game we're gonna play. It's a bit like Simon Says. You do what I say. I ring you, do the job. Don't do what I tell you, the kid dies. Don't do where I tell you, the kid dies. Don't do when I tell you, the kid dies. You getting my drift? You want to see your kid alive. You do exactly what I say. You talk to anyone, you're late, or you let me down. Your kid dies. Do I make myself clear?
What's this all about, Charlie? What are you doing this to me for? I've done nothing to you.
You're still not paying attention. Not a very good listener, are you, son? You're on the run. You killed your wife. You left the murder weapon behind at the scene. You're a convicted bank robber. Do you think the filth are gonna believe you?
You better kill me now, Charlie, I'm telling you. I'll get you for this, I swear!
Mark. Such anger. What am I gonna do with you? No idea what you say. I was ready for the old people's home. Never would have done with you. Bury you and your kid.
So there you go. There's the reasoning behind this game. Here's my save menu. We're just gonna go ahead and continue. We're gonna start the second mission. We're not gonna get too far into it. We're just gonna give it get it started and then move on to the 9th game of the night. I just really like the acting in this game. I like the clean HUD. I like the voice acting. I like the music. It's a compelling story to me. It's like a movie that I would watch.
Hello? What? Yeah,
Rise and shine, Marky boy. You got work to do.
get on with it, Johnson.
I want you to pay your old pals down in Soho a visit. Fresh Street, innit? I want you to let Nick Collins know you're no longer friends.
What's this all about, Charlie?
I want you to do a little DIY.
I'm not sure I'll get you.
I want you to remodel College's restaurant in the Republic. I mean, trash it. Smash the place to pieces. Crucify them. No, wait. Torch the place. You got me. Don't lead down to that place to towering fucking inferno.
You're off your fucking rocker, Charlie. That's my old turf. They're friends of mine.
You heard me. Just go on it. I better be seeing Republic on the 6 o'clock news, or your boy will be all over the headlines by 10. I don't want any excuses, Hammond. Just do the job if you want to see your kid alive.
Alright, so now we start the driving portion of the mission where we have to get to the nightclub. And we're not being chased by the cops or anything, so we can actually sort of drive legally. But if we are reckless, if we hit people, then we're going to start dealing with the police. I'm feeling impatient, so we're going to do a lot of curb hopping.
Shit, I better watch it. Look, got wind of that shooting back there.
Alright, so now the cops are on to me. But that's okay, it'll give you guys sort of like a look at how the police act in this game. Also, later on, you'll aggravate other rival gangs, and you'll have to deal with them trying to get you off the road as well. Yeah, so here he's sort of trying to steer me into the wall. I'm making a mistake. Alright, we ditched him. Once the black smoke starts coming out, that means it's time to go. Alright. No, it's fine, it's fine. It's fine, everything's fine. You guys are overreacting. All I did was run into you. I mean, you have like no map, you have no, you know, no menu system you can rely on. Like with so little stimulus to respond to, you know, you can kind of focus on what you're doing, and it's easy to get lost, but at the same time, you can just constantly be following your turn signals, and you're always going to be pointed in the direction you need to be going. The routing in this game, as far as that's concerned, is way better than, say, like Crazy Taxi. Like, I'm here now. Now we go to the restaurant.
Hey, put the gun away, Mark.
Alright, well, that's it for Mark. He's dead. If we continue, we're going to continue right outside the restaurant. But that's the Getaway. It's got a great story. It's a little clunky compared to Grand Theft Auto, but I do love it a lot. I think it's very, very worth playing. And I would definitely like to see another one in that series. Alright, speaking of great storytelling, we're going to move on to another early release PS2 title that I don't know how much it's going to be able to show off because it is a little long form, but this is one of the first PS2 games I ever played, and it definitely kind of grabbed me. It's short, but clever. It's made by a lot of the people behind Team Silent, who obviously like Silent Hill 2 and 3 are classics, just like true hallmarks of the PS2 era and the PS2 lifespan. But they did another game too that had nothing to do with Silent Hill, and this is that game. This is Shadow of Destiny. Alright, we'll go ahead and skip that. So the premise of this game is very simple. So that's the character we play as, who is just stabbed in the street. That's how the game begins. So you have to solve your own murder is essentially what's going on here. You have to solve and prevent your own murder. And it's kind of like a real-time puzzle game in a lot of ways. So each game sort of takes place over these half-hour increments. So right now it's 2 p.m., and I'm going to die at 2:30. Also, your character is really, really awkward. Oh, haunted banana. Sweet haunted bananas. So, do I have my map? Yeah. So this game pretty much takes place in the city of Lebensbaum. And I have to go around and investigate and try and figure out what happened to me. 30 seconds passed. This game has multiple endings, and so the decisions you make can either end in your own death or can ultimately affect the outcome of the game. I think it's got 7 or 8 different endings. Ooh. So there's our hint. Okay, can I skip this? Nope. Okay. So I need to be around other people so that I can't just be shanked while I'm alone. The digipad is glowing. So now I need to go back another half hour. It's a pretty short game, and it's kind of linear. You want to try and get all the different endings to see all the different ways that the story can go, but it's a neat little experience just to have as a one-off as well, and just see what happens. You go around the town, you investigate, you get items, you try and create circumstances that allow for you to alter your own future. It's a pretty neat premise for a game, and I don't see a lot of people talking about this game ever. But I enjoyed sort of working through it and solving what needed to be done. Having a set timeline and all that. Wurzel's got all the data. Well, I'm glad I had a couple surprises even for you. Yep, I have.
Looking for a date? Do me a favor. Go away. I look strange. Mind your own business.
That didn't work.
Excuse me. Have you seen a man walking around here?
Yes, it's a city.
You wanted to come to the square at 2:30. What's going to happen in the square? Performer. Well, all right. I don't have anything else to do anyway.
I'm just recruiting people to be a crowd, so I can't be singled out and eliminated. The map itself is pretty small, which is nice because it can be hard to kind of figure out what you need to do on such a strict time budget. But since this is all the space that you're going to cover in the game pretty much, it's you get pretty familiar with the layout of the city. You don't really get lost too often once you know where you're going. And the game's pretty good about giving you the cues you need to know when you've accomplished what you need to accomplish, when there's more left to be done.
Have you seen a woman wrapped in a coat wandering around here?
Yep, I sure have.
You see my girl? Ooh, out this way. See, can go find her.
Actually, she was behind you the whole time. Alright, so my thing is glowing. So now I'm going to go back to my time. Sort of my time. Sig. My thing is glowing. It's like Chrono Trigger, but somehow worse hair. Yeah, the hair in this game is pretty interesting.
Here's a guy with no worries.
So there's the killer. Sees the crowd and is like, nah, I'm good.
There was someone behind me. It looks like the crowd scared him off. That fortune teller, she told me to come back. I should go look her up again.
So that's the prologue. And now it's 2:30.
Did my fate change? Did anything happen?
You have been defying fate, haven't you? I am beginning to see new red. Ah, you are still in danger. 3 o'clock is now the fated hour.
What? You mean I still haven't gotten to the root of the problem?
You can't return here, even after the appointed hour has passed. Then I will tell you the next portion.
That took 3 minutes.
Even I can do that.
Yeah, so once you've seen a cutscene once, you have the option to skip it. But you still have to end up paying the time cost. So you basically have to figure out who's trying to kill you and why, and stop them each chapter only to alter the timeline further and further. It's a neat little sort of mystery puzzle game. Like I said, it's pretty short. I think it's like 8 chapters plus the prologue. There's 7 different endings. I see now the bar's on fire.
Grandpa's in there. Please help him. Help, please.
Sorry, kid. Damn, where's the fire department?
Are you gonna help my grandpa?
So yeah, when you know that fate is trying to kill you, maybe don't go into a burning building. But I don't want to spoil the mystery too much, so there's a taste of Shadow of Destiny. If you like the sort of storytelling that Silent Hill offers, that's sort of like a non-horror alternative that still has some interesting storytelling to do with time travel and other interesting elements. Alright, it's time for the final game of the night. I'm pretty sure that most of you have played this, actually, but if you haven't, you should definitely check this game out. You guys know I like to finish the evening off with a little RPG action, and I have a large collection of PS2 RPGs to choose from, but this one jumped out at me as like one that doesn't quite have the name recognition as some other ones, but still like cannot be missed. This is a must-play game on the PS2. And once we finish up with this, I'm going to call it a night, head to bed, and hopefully we will see you on stream tomorrow as I try and wrap up Donkey Kong 64. I think I have a save file of this, and I really hope I do, because I want to just kind of jump right into the action. What did I get you, Wursel? I can't tell you yet. It's a secret. So this is Rogue Galaxy. It's made by Level 5. Most probably well known for Professor Layton, Nino Kuni. I don't have any saves on here. Okay, well, what are you going to do? The best way I can describe this game is that it's sort of like a mix between Kingdom Hearts, Final Fantasy 12, and a little dash of maybe Wild Arms for the setting, because it is sort of a space western. I'm going to skip these cutscenes if I can, and I can. Rest assured, the story in this game is pretty good. The voice acting is well done.
You sure he's in this backwoods bumpkin town?
The information came from a credible source. He's here all right. He should be hiding out somewhere on Rosa.
Desert Claw? He's one of the galaxy's top hunters. Maybe he got his mitts on a load of dosh and he's off living it up somewhere. Can't believe he'd be wasting his time on...
So yeah, it's a taste of the animation and the voice acting right there. But I want to get into the action, so I'm going to be skipping these cutscenes. That's a mech armadillo, you are correct.
This is bad.
surrounded.
A mecha do it.
These foes are nothing. They just rode in on the big guy's coattails.
Huh? Who are you?
Let's finish these chumps off first.
Here we go.
So basically, Jaster here is living on this desert planet, and he wants to get off and have adventure and see things. So action-wise, this game plays a lot like Kingdom Hearts. Sort of a real-time action RPG. You do have an action gauge, which is sort of like a stamina gauge, so you can't just mash attack like you can in Kingdom Hearts. If your gauge runs out, you have to wait until it fills back up again before you can attack. But you can parry an enemy's attack by guarding at the right time to instantly fill up your action meter.
You're pretty strong.
That wasn't even a warm-up.
Who are you?
I'm your ally, of course. For now, anyway. More importantly, the big fella went off toward the residential area. That beast is worth at least 20,000. Come on.
20,000? What are you, some kind of hunter?
Pretty much.
Here's our menu screen. When I said Final Fantasy XII, I was referring to what's called the Revelation Board. And so this is where you learn all your different moves. You start off with a couple recipes, and it tells you if you get a stone-shaped mark with a little lightning bolt on it, then you can learn Flash Sword. If you get this little bracelet, you can learn Break Throw. And if you have this sort of cloth thing and this weird gem pot, you can learn Illusion Sword. And these arrows indicate that when you learn this ability, you gain the recipes for the squares that are pointed in each direction. Each character has one of these boards, and it's how they learn all of their different techniques. So it's a lot like the license board from Final Fantasy XII. You can set up the AI for each of the party members. We Guy, thank you very much for the host. I appreciate that very much. We've got a mini-map there in the corner. We can talk to people here. Here's a save point. Grim the Wanderer, what is up? Yes, Rogue Galaxy does deserve a sequel, absolutely. So we get our health charged back up. And now we have a random battle. Excellent, I'm at 90%, so I'm almost done as well. So use the D-pad to lock on. It's a pretty late PS2 game, but like it looks really good. The voice acting is pretty well done. It's a lot of fun to play. You get to go to different worlds, different environments. There's spaceships. It's all kinds of good stuff. A nice collection of party members. Plenty of gear. I'm a bad guy. What's up? I'm a bad guy. Yeah, it did age surprisingly well. You're absolutely right. Like the slight cell shading effects really keep the graphics looking crisp and sharp.
Is that all you got? That was a cinch.
It is a little less fluid than Kingdom Hearts because there are those breaks at the ends of battles. I'm a bad guy. Thank you so much for the follow. Welcome to the internet. So glad to have you here. If you guys aren't already following Wee Guy, please go ahead and give him a follow for that host. I really appreciate that.
That's how you get it done.
That's how you get it done. I'm going to go heal up over here at the save point again since I'm just kind of showing you guys the start of the game. I'm not going to actually save my progress.
Those guys were no challenge at all.
Level up. Alright, let's check our revelation board. I think we might have something. Maybe not. Not yet. Okay. That's going to give you an idea as well, if you look right there, at how much space there is up here in this top part of the tab, how many different party members you can get later on in the game.
If this keeps up, the town's gonna be destroyed.
Okay, so there's the Thunderstone. I keep pressing start to go in the menu, but now we can go into the revelation board for Jaster and pop the Thunderstone in. And so now I learn Flash Sword. And now we can see I've got an attack up level 1, a Burning Strike level 1, and Flash Sword level 2. And it's telling me about the keys that I need, so we've got to come back later on. Alright. So we can change the camera by pressing select. Go to a high range camera. For flying enemies, it's generally best to use your ranged attack on them, because they're a little harder to hit otherwise. This should be our first boss fight coming up.
Ooh, it's awfully noisy all of a sudden.
Alright, we're gonna skip that. If you are a fan of this game, I apologize for skipping the cutscenes, but I'm just trying to show off what this game is about. Not spend too much time on it.
Damn it. What's going on here? Why did they let that thing get in? this keeps up, the town's gonna be destroyed. Here we go.
So now I can open up this menu and use my new ability. Got a new level. I'm just gonna walk past those houses that I can go inside. Alrighty, he's right off the bat just started whooping on me. It's very easy to get overwhelmed with damage in this game, so you have to actually be smart about your defense. You can't just go all out and attack all the time. It doesn't always work.
Not good.
I don't have enough action gauge to use this item. Okay, that should be good. There we go.
Man.
Hey! You're not half bad, kid!
Huh? Oh my! Could it be?
Steve-O, what's going on?
Just look!
Come on, what is it?
Yes?
There's no doubt about it. And see what he's got there? That's Desert Claw's weapon. Desert Seeker, one of the 7 sacred galactic swords.
So that means that you must be the legendary hunter, Desert Claw!
The what?
Oh, I can't believe how lucky we are. To think we found him this quickly.
No kidding!
I told you he'd be on this planet, didn't I? Didn't I? See?
Well now, aren't we the lucky ones? Mission accomplished. Let's head on back. Come on, you too, mister.
Whoa! Wait a second. What are you trying to do? Look, I've got to take care of that beast up there. You're in my way.
Ah, why bother? I mean, it's such a chore. Come to our ship, and we'll give you all kinds of sweet jobs that beat the pants off plain old beast hunting. Come on.
Knock it off. I have to go now, or that thing is gonna destroy the town. Let me go.
That's our Desert Claw, a man of unbending determination.
Ah, whatever you say. We'll accompany you on your hunting trip. But when this little escapade's over, you're coming with us. Is that a deal?
Huh?
If you guys ever find yourself in an RPG, don't ever agree to do some menial task and then call it quits, because it never works out that way. Alright, Simon and Steve are in the party. So you can actually control who you want to play as. So I want to be a Mechadillo, I totally can. And there's a bounty system here, so we can see if I can kill that thing, it's worth 20,000 P. And you have missions as well. So if you defeat 30 of the Bafus, the skeleton guys, you get 1200 P. 900 P for defeating 25 dragonflies, and then you have a ranking system to determine what your bounty hunter ranking is. So if you're going to be better than Big Shot Freddy, or Albert Cougar, or Cirrus Frood, Jumbo Orzak, you can climb the bounty hunter rankings by completing these missions.
Crap, I gotta hurry. Here they come.
Not what I wanted to do.
Well, that was a double.
And right back into another battle. I just think this game like flows very well. The combat is fast paced, but it's also not necessarily overwhelming. We get this suggestions menu where instead of, in Kingdom Hearts you have like Donald doing his own thing and casting fire when you really need him to heal. In this game, your non-player characters will sort of come up with ideas, and you can press one of the shoulder buttons to just trip one of those ideas. I think it's the perfect mix of like ideas that that we know work in an RPG and sort of a fresh take, a fresh setting. I think this game is extremely fun, and if you haven't tried it, you definitely should. Alright, we're gonna get to this boss, but I need to heal up.
See what you're made of. Are you ready? Here they come. I haven't even warmed up. Oh my, is it already over?
We have to go through this building over here.
Head to the residential area. This isn't good.
Don't remember how to get through here.
Here they come. Here they come. Bunch of wimps. We're not done yet. Those guys were no challenge at all.
Battle after battle. We've got to get through it.
Entering battle, everyone.
No. So you can just ignore, like, they want to use heal potions, and I'm looking at the health. Okay, now it looks a little more necessary. See, he wants to use one right now, and I don't see the need, so I'm just gonna ignore it. And he doesn't pull a Donald. He doesn't go healing shit that he doesn't need to be healing.
The number of beasts keeps increasing.
Popping up like crazy.
There we go.
Come on, Desert Claw. To the residential area.
Here they come. Here they come. Bunch of wimps.
Let's finish these guys off real quick.
Oh my, is it already over?
Is everyone in the residential area okay?
Heal up, and let's do this boss fight.
Whoa, this thing is huge.
Watch you don't get crushed. Hang on. His foot armor's off.
I get it now. That's a Mark 8 salamander. If we can manage to break the shackles on its legs, then the shield on its back will open up. Let's hurry up and break the other shackles.
Now we're talking.
I like that you can't just mash attack in this game, that you actually do have to respect defense.
Hey, look at that. That's gonna be his weak spot.
Try attacking him there.
What? How am I supposed to do that?
Jump on its back and hack away. Isn't it obvious?
Are you nuts? There's no way.
Hang on. I've got just the thing for this kind of situation.
What's that?
I'll tell you later. Watch this.
What the?
That's my monography shot. What do you reckon? Do you like it? Jump on the back of those monography platforms and you can get up on the back of the beast. Here you go, big man. Why don't you take this for now? When the platform disappears, just shoot up another one. But remember, you must equip the monography shot first before you can use it.
Now's your chance. Go get him, Mr. Claw.
So now I got a gun that shoots platforms. Dang it. Just needed that one last hit.
Did that do it?
Nope. I'm afraid not.
But you're almost there. Is the battle recorder ready? That kind of beast will net you heaps of points. Make sure you get it all on tape.
What? You mean this?
Oh, now that is a well-used recorder.
Use that to record your battle with the beast. And later on, you can turn it in for points. Now finish off the beast by yourself. After all, it's your prize.
All right. Then here goes.
Its heart has stopped, but it's still being controlled by the power of the rune. Destroy the rune in its head.
Oh, come on. Like a legendary hunter needs your help.
I get the feeling he sort of does. I wonder why. Is he really Desert Claw? I suppose looks can be deceiving.
A real master doesn't need to show off. He may not look it, but he's got the goods.
Let's use a heal potion. Let's use another heal potion. And down goes the boss. So that's a taste of Rogue Galaxy. I really love this game. I think if you haven't played it, you owe it to yourself to play this one. It's a lot of fun. I love learning new abilities. I love going to different worlds. I love the balance of the fast-paced action and the RPG-style menus. It just feels like they took everything that was wrong with Kingdom Hearts and scrubbed it and made it as good as it possibly could be. Love this game. So that's going to do it for the showcase tonight, guys. We covered 10 games. It took us a little under 4 hours. But don't forget to check these games out if you haven't played them already. Fantavision, Stretch Panic, Gitaroo Man, Technic Beat, Gungriffon Blaze, Incredible Hulk Ultimate Destruction, Chaos Legion, The Getaway, Shadow of Destiny, and Rogue Galaxy. I like all these games quite a bit. I think they're a lot of fun. And I think there's a lot more games on the PS2 that we can cover at a later date. I don't know what next week's showcase is going to be just yet. But we'll figure it out when the time comes. I want to thank all you guys for watching tonight. I know that it's been a bit of a long stream between the Donkey Kong 64 and then this. I want to thank everyone who checks all these things out on YouTube. If you're not watching it live, I appreciate the support there as well. Thanks to Wee Guy and Ragnar Blaze for the hosts. Thanks to everyone in the chat, Capybara, Wursel, Ramses, I'm a Bad Guy, Grim the Wanderer, all you guys. Thank you all so much. We'll catch you next week with another showcase, and we'll see you later on with more streams of games that are fun and good for you and help you get strong teeth. This is MisterRadon saying, don't listen to MisterRadon.